Understanding the process of who we become is all line conditions and high position locations. There's 4 elements and lines of 5. Your guys are 5 elements. You have to learn how to use it through your own space line condition at time. Now, it sets position location on all levels of tone setting. No, it's all calculated and modified. So we all have to understand how it works for us and always informs. The mind, okay? The actual mind is position locations. It's the hardware software put together, which is the simulation singularity. Singularity is getting you where you've already been. Now, in that set communication setting, that's the communication of support, a calculation line, endurance, location, and navigation. The mind's the navigation, okay? Through eyes is seeing, ears, sound, taste, touch, and feel. Now, you have calculations of 5 line settings, 5 elements. You add 3 in location, which is the connections to what? Lights through the sun, right? 5 line centers, a 3 line interference and track communication of pi. Triac factor, track line interference line connectionized system is position location of 6, equal lines of 9. Put 6 and 9 together, yin and yang. Now, the process of communications, where that comes into line center location, is the mind and navigation. The mind navigates the travel. It's the navigator. Okay, remember that to the console calculations. Calculates, modifies. In that direct line setting, it's calculated, modified to its application system. So it's the geometric operation of calculations of its graphing setting, of its location. Okay, most powerful thing to have in sublocations. Now, in that adaptation line setting, you have the body. The body is all levels of consciousness. Now, if you understand that process, then you understand how to use it through GOD. The GOD is a geometric operation of design. You're designing higher levels through your tesseract, which is your computer operational lines of realm correlation setting that's directing signals to your heart. That's all timelines. Through your portals, stargates, starlinks, star position locations. Now, in that direct signal locations, you come in that track communications through your navigation, through your heart, okay, through timelines, okay, navigation, timelines. Your body is the consciousness, okay, and the soul is the light through travel, okay. That's all modified at 4 line settings of 5 position. Okay, you are the 5 elements of setting. The 3 calculation lines is the outer line. So you have an inner core. The inner line setting is the inner line connection high system. The outer core, okay, is the space odyssey, is the outer limits, okay, is the outer ring, is the outer rim, but it's in space. You have the inner line of you and you have the outer line. So when you look at the outer line, you're looking at space lines of outside location, but it's inside location of you, inside position. But you're seeing it through perception of consciousness. So you're seeing it through its dimension. And if you're not seeing it through its dimension, you're not in sync with your settings, which means you're roguing, you're offline, off grid, off calculation. Okay? So try to understand that process, how it works with you through navigation, through timeline, through body of consciousness, and soul direct locations of light through travel. Okay? You follow that. You get a better understanding how to use your body through vibration, energies, frequencies, and harmonics. You have the body to react. The mind is the navigation, is the avatar. The avatar is basically traveling. The mind is shifting. The body follows through the heart and through the soul. They all go together, okay? But the body changes into consciousness. And once you stand the inner core line setting, and once you stand the outer core line setting, then you're in direct location of your space that you are creating through time, through pi. Okay? So now you understand the process. I'm trying to help you so you can help yourself. Okay? So, a very powerful data line setting. I'll calculate and modify our calculation through its positions. Now we come into configuration line setting. Now it's rotation circle locations when it comes to Infinities cycle locations. Indirect signals, we come into Mother Earth ground lines, operations, server locations, setting directions. So we're going to clock our line setting. This is going to measure counts lines and high position location. Go to track lines, calculation line directions, and position. All right. So we come into video line, screen line, rotations of 2 box line centers and triangulation to 2 set line position, location, height, setting, direction. Yeah. All right, 2 line signatures. It's going to get complicated, guys, because I got to set line communication with travel line positions. All right, center calculation line interference. Line connecting high position, location, track communications, right? So put you guys in line settings, put you calculate and modify into 6 lines of 5 lines, right? Because that's where you are now. You're in the time line heart reactor line division location of 6 position over 5 over pi. That modifies the line center interference, sets communication lines of 0, equal line condition of 9, 0 condition line interference, 3 on its setting, position location of 12 set locations. All right? Now, you come into the atom router. A router router line interference set location of the moon line. Moon line sets its position location high interference to track communications. There's the moon. Setting calculation line. Sun line is already in open sequence location of patterns that identifies its system location to its settings to its galaxy shift line communications. That my equation. All right. So 0 lines, operation equal line calculation, setting Merkaba up, Merkaba down, center line communications, crosses signals, setting direct signals, high calculation, setting direction. See? Direction. Navigation line sends a 9 over pi, 3 line center line interference, 3 positions of 4, 4 lines of 3, set location setting, 7 equal lines of 5 line conditions, 12 in position to its direction. Double equation. All right. Okay. Clock line setting, atmosphere line direction location system. So we come in at X line center line interference, track communication setting, direct location system to collaboration lines of communication. Equal lines of CPU, line rotation surface, line condition levels, 12 line setting, equal lines of clock line center interference into pyramid line rotations, 4 line track lines and high interference in position locations, X line center, cross signals, line cross, high calculation positions, graph line stream in position of parallels, directing signal line interference in pi direction of time sequence times pi. That's my equation. All right, setting up modules and calculation navigation line streams. Setting direct signals is very important to understand these things. Light signature locations. See? Light signature, line setting. See? See that? See the light signature line? Across the stream location settings. Directing signal high position. Right? It's light, right? So what's traveling through that? Your soul. What's navigating that? Your mind. What's going through timeline through that? Your heart. Okay? And what is your body going through that? Consciousness through its GOD. Okay? All through this. That's how you travel. Okay? All right. Directing signals and set lines of communication. High lines of channel. Now this operates as service location line interference. So 0 line 1. 1 lines of lines of 0. Equal location of 9 setting. Okay? Tracking communication of 9. Line center line interference of 6 lines. Position locations of 4. Change the lines, center lines of 4, lines of 6, back lines of 6, back lines of 4. Calculation line interference and position of 5 set location directions. All right, so Mother Earth is getting ground lines. She's trying to send sequence patterns, line and rotation surface, and center lines of ground lines and rotation to the setting. Directing signals, in position locations to a set location. Oh, it's Merkaba. Now the Merkaba set lines of high calculation cross stream. Directing line signals and high line rotation interference. 60 line settings. Got 60 line position locations. 60 over pi, 60 calculation line direction system. Now 6 line communication set lines and 5 line direct line settings. 5 position location calculations. 5, 5, 5, and set lines equal line condition 7 and 7, 7, 7, 7. Track line condition setting at 6, 6, 6, 6. High position locations into 8, 8, 8, 8. Infinity line setting. And space line and infinity line rotation and set locations. That's my equation. All right. So setting a configuration of figure 8 line rotation setting, it's a 24,000 line setting. So we got a figure 8 line rotation, calculation line interference, equations of percentage line setting locations, equal line condition 100, 100 line percentage line condition setting in direct locations. Now this is over lines, over drive, over calculation line positions of pi set line conditions. That's my equation. All right, so the 8 line center is set up through code line stream. So we take the infinity line settings, 1 position, 2 positions, 3 positions, and 4, and 5 set location settings, direct signals. Now, directing line center line interference is position location of flux paths or center lines of ground line operation line settings. 0 operations, 0 calculations, 0 positions, 0 interference, 0 calculation line setting and position. Now, tracking line center line interference is a triangulation line setting, position location triangulation line setting, and set location to one line interference and track communications. Now, this directs signals line condition high interference in position location to its tesseract. Tesseract line center line interference. We take the infinity line rotation and position locations into electronic cube line, set the calculation streamline, and set location to box position of the data line center rotation surface. Setting direct signal lines of 8, center calculation interference, infinity line rotation. Signal lines up, signal lines in center, center communications, signal line down, teleportation streamline, that equation. All right. So we got 4 lines of infinity 8s, 5 line centers and center communications to its settings. 8 lines, equal line conditions of 5, 5 lines location of 7, 7 location of 12, 12 line setting, clock line rotation interference, setting calculation of Fibonacci line rotation, center line communication directions, and set location setting, high setting. Sun comes in line rotation surface, moon sets lines of 8 lines, infinity 8 line rotations, sets up a flywheel calculation streamline, center calculation and moon line, operational line condition, and indirect location setting. That my equation. Okay, so I have to do this extremely fast because the conditions of the fast line motors and routers and routers lines of the moon line rotation surface is infinity line condition of a cluster line channel, line center line interference to track communication formation to its alliance and calculation streamline sets. Sets direct location settings, data box line stream, data interference, data calculation lines, and 3 set location of box centers. Directing signals lines in zero operation, calculation line interference into flywheel direction of time sequence to its atom line conditions. Directing signal lines, signal line, signal line, signal line in 3 set location directions. Set line calculation zero line operation surface into ground line operation setting. Directing signals, tube lines, and track communications. Directing signal lines and travel calculation setting, taking 144. Platitude line, and 3 set location of travel in direct line signal and set locations. That's my equation. All right. Okay, so getting allocated lines of switch lines in position location. This is all line center line interference. Now this is alloy calculations of metal lines. So the atmosphere lines of the atom line rotates its surface locations of pi. Pi sets line condition position attraction. Okay. Directing signals, 3 lines, a high calculation setting, in position location of 4, 4 lines in 3, 7 in center communication. All right. Directing lines of set locations. So remember, it's about putting setters and line communication numbers in positions to its position line conditions to your pyramid settler conditions. So understand how you do these things. 3 over 4, 4 over 5, 5 over 7, 7 over 8. I like the calculation modification when it comes into levels. What happened to 6, 7, 8, 9? What happened to 6, 7, 8, 9? Get it? 7, 8, 9? It's a joke. Haha. So setting that line, direct line interference and set location setting sets position location of 4, 4 lines under 6, takes lines equaling either positive or negative, negative or positive set location setting, direct signal location system, puts lines of 6 lines in position of 5 set locations and directions. All right? Setting calculation lines, infinity 8 line rotation setting, infinity 8 line, infinity 8 line, infinity 8 line, and triangulation position attraction. Directing signals at center communication, open lines, a travel line setting, all levels around position of portals, a calculation setting directions. That's my equation. Okay, so setting signals, we take the 4 lines of 8. Now that's infinity line interference calculation system, the locations of reconfiguration. Ring line setting and line condition system, 2 track line communications, American line interference, and travel communications. Right. So now you know what the equal line setting is, right? It's a center calculation. What set lines and high interference of north in position of east and west and set location in its direct location setting directions. Setting that lines in position location to your Merkaba set locations. Directing signal lines as zero line operation and magnetic highway formation line conditions of sight line high interference of travel communication line setting in position location operation to its surface location to its system. Down by equation. Okay. Directing signals and set lines of calculation line interference, we take the Merkaba line center rotation surface, puts position attraction. Well, this is very powerful stuff. Setting calculation lines. So it's equal line calculations, right? What's above, okay, is below set location, right? Directing signals cross line streams, we get a position of north line, which is east line. We go into the east line, which is west line, and we go into south line, which is east line, and we go into calculation of west line, which is east line calculation setting in direction. Okay. Setting signals and set lines and high interference of Mother Earth rotation setting. Okay, that goes into crevice line streamlines as locations. Directing signals, one line strip and set locations, all levels, electrical line interference and set location setting to the arrows above and set locations. Directing line settings sets up all calculation line of space odyssey in set locations. Directing line signals travels line interference into 144 of travel communications and 3 lines of block line setting and directions. Done by equation. All right. Okay, so once you get into the modifiers, modify line center into console into communication, computes this line interference, okay, to your CPU line center rotations and set locations. So center calculation line interference, sun lines its rotation surface and set lines in communication setting. Directing line setting sets position location and communication line setting. So the communication lines is circle line rotation turns into 6 in set locations. 6 lines over line rotations. Memory comes into accountability to atom line, center line communication, and triangulation of 3 set location directions. That by equation. All right, so get into the calculation of recalculating line interference into analyze set locations and position. Spectrum lines of communication. All right, so you got the spectrum line setting. Okay, so it's center locations. We got the spectrum communications, right? Systematical and perception, the energy lines, communications, travel lines, remembering line interference, setting calculation settings, and position locations, so unifications, levels, memory set location. Okay. So this is a speculation of lines of spectrums. Now the set lines calculations in Infinity 8 sets line connections. Infinity 8, Infinity 8, Infinity 8. Now there's 4 line settings, right? Streamline interference, past, set locations in present, set locations in position, location in future setting. Directing signal lines, graph line streams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Center communication and directions. Done by equation. All right, so the spectrum lights, walk, surface locations now set out line condition high interference. Travel communication is direct location of sitting. Sitting line rotation interference. Mother sets line communications and ground lines of operation. Okay. Calculation line stream and set locations. Alpha line wave line rotation surface and calculation stream lines instrument and residence locations. Now, and that signature line stream sets position locations into videograph lines of proxies. We got 4 box line settings and high track communication setting with direct signals to set locations, right? Channel lines of streamline, setting calculations. Channel lines of streamline, cross the signal line interference. Channel lines of operation lines of 6 position locations. 5 line setting in direct location system of percentage over pi. Now the directing signal and set location setting sets measure accountability, set line center to 0 operation in the line centers of alpha, delta, theta, and set location directions. Setting line calculating settings, box line triangles into 8, 8, 8, 8, position location of 4 line setting. Directing signal lines and set locations comes into 12 and 12 line setting locations, split into anomalies and set location line directions. Set lines of high interference of space and time and set location setting in all timelines, all frequencies, all calculated and modify in the same direct line setting of force recognition line calculation of space and time. Multi-pass. Done. All right. 12 stargates fired and wired into set locations of grids to 8. See, that's it. So there's 8 line settings, 8 positions, 8 tracks, and 8 locations. All right. 2 lines of setting. Masculinity, femininity. Femininity, masculinity. Okay. Now, you're probably wondering why this is masculine, feminine, and feminine, feminine, right? Setting calculations, male setting first, which is the space line, and connections of timeline, which is the female line, calculations to its memory calculation line interference into its male set location directions. Setting calculation line in rotation to its surface locations, right? So coming in line, center line, and rotation surface and set line calculation setting and center operation. Now this directs signals in line connecting high position location of its orb channel and rotation to its line positions to its operation set location. Now setting position locations all levels, center line settings and all levels of 0 operations set locations of 0, calculation line directions in equal lines of 9, 9 equal locations of 12, and set line conditions and directions. That equation. All right. So now you understand the communication line setting, because left line is father and right line is mother, right? So there's a reason why it's male and female and male, okay? Balance line center in the same timeline sequence and 8 line center line interference. That's 4 8 line calculation setting as space and time division. Setting calculation and streamlines is set lines to communications in 8 over factor location. Directing signals, operation line setting, and all calculation infinities of rotation surface and magnetic highway information line directions. Now, sending calculations into flywheels, set lines and calculations to its atom line rotation surface and set locations. Now, directing signals, one line, cross line, stream lines, influx, capacitor, communication line, and line rotation is zero line gravity and set line connection setting and direct signals to set locations. Now, this sets line calculation of 6 and position location of 4. 6 lines and 4 line center. We take the 6 line and center communications. We take the 4 line and we lines of negative over positive position locations adds lines of 65 positions. The infinity cycles of 24,000 lines of infinity 8 line rotation interference is now in configuration of resetting positions of track communications. Done by equation. Okay. All right. Spinning and rotating nodes to resonate. But see the thing, Gypsy, you're not working with 2 line settings. You're working with 4 lines now because the timeline sequence location infinity lines. Mother Earth is now in set locations in masculine and feminine, feminine and masculinity. It's all done. They're all timeline sequence. We had to get the infinity track communications back into reconfiguration. Now it's set line connection high setting. It's directing signals now. Okay, so we come into the X line. X equals line setting. Okay, now we understand locations of center locations, right? Center lines is center lines in position of 1 dot location, right? Atom line rotations in position of positive or negative, equal line conditions into positive or negative locations. Okay, so what this does is it volumes the line signatures and stream locations setting in position locations in the cloud line channels of Mother Earth and set locations. See? Directing signals and set locations. See how she's coming in? Calculation lines of center and line rotation and position track lines and calculation streamline and set locations. Okay? Now, directing signals is really understand how to modify the set lines of communications. 8 lines of channels, 8 line division, 8 line rotation, 8 lines of surface. Center calculation and position of travel line setting direction. Okay? Now, this opens up panels. The rotation line interference sets position of Merkaba up and set location line setting in lines of east, west, north, and south location directions. Now, this directs line center as a 0 operation, ground lines operation setting, center communication line position of Merkaba set locations, tesseract channel line operation line connections into tetrahedron. The tetrahedron tesseract changes lines across line stream lines in set location setting in pi erection of timelines and set location setting in direct signals in direct location setting in line rotations of branches of communications, data line streams, data interference, code weaving, code channel, code operation line interference, travel calculation line interference, metric stream communication line setting, and direct signal line communication signature patterns, rotation lines of ground lines, operation line setting, all operation lines of 4 clock line settings, 5 line interference, 6 line position, 7 bodies of water calculation line interference, all set line communication setting and position location attraction, directing signals of 0 line rotation, 9 line settings, equal lines of 3 lines of waiting cycle locations, 24, 48, 72, 144, travel communication line interference, infinity cycle location setting, directing signals over male over female, female over male, center calculation setting, and position location, all time lines all at once, and set location setting, infinity line rotation, and center calculation setting, and direct line signals, and position location of balance, center calculation line in line rotation, and Merkaba up, and position location Merkaba down, center calculation line stream, and set location down directions. Done by equation. It's all set up. Okay. All right. Whoa. All right, but it's amazing how she's set up, right? You saw her face recognition line setting, right? Everything is intelligence. Now, when you start to see face line settings, your connection is your outer ring. Okay, the inner line calculation is communication in through outline. It's not out through in, it's in through out. Okay, so in that direct line center, once you see the line condition levels of Skynets and SkyGrid line interference, the price and line conditions, they are connecting through intelligent location settings. Okay, they're trying to communicate with you. They're trying to communicate back with you. And once you understand the heat signature line stream and interference line conditioned system, then you understand the energy line signal locations of its affinities of 8 line rotations in direct location setting and all calculation positions of Mother Earth in track location of space and time. Okay? Holy Toledo. Yeah. Well, knowing exactly what you're seeing has already been said. So that's trace and location when it comes to the presentation line, setting interference, position, tracking, deviations, line, the line doors. All right, so if you take the mind lines, okay, mind line interference. Now, applied to line conditions all levels of Mother Earth, she needs her mind line conception, equal lines calculation of eight positions, eight position location track lines. Okay, that's memory line settings. Mark up the positions up and down line cross lines and center communication position attractions, right? So this equal lines is calculation and position locations. This is where it comes into mass, calculations, position. We come to square lines, a set line connection height, center interference, track communication, a two-line setting. Now, the line set is a box line. Calculations, triangulation line interference. We change the position location of box line to triangulation and position location, operation line interference, location position of box line. Calculation line interference, and track communication position location, direct interference, location box line interference. Tracks communication, there's direct line centers of E equals MC squared. So she's got to recognize the calculation line interference and position location three-dimensional line setting. Triangulation height location setting of energy track communication setting. Molecule line string is a line directing signal and set location all levels. This opens all track communication of E equals line setting, indirect line interference. Now the E equals MC communicates the line setting locations in position of box through triangulation. This box its line setting line interference. This puts position location masculine and feminine masculinity in timeline sequence in all timelines all at once in calculation to its presence of the now line center line interference. This sets all operations in single line rotation and calculation modifications in two line centering and rotation surfaces applications. That's my question. All right. So she's coming back in her memory set line connections. See, this is all about calculating modify where she's trying to remember where she is in set location setting. She's on a waiting signal, but now she's coming backtrack line conditions. Remember, this is all memory of retention. This is all memory of all what you have already in calculation system. Setting her line calculation setting is a dilation line of rotation to position locations. How she uses eight line setting line interference of eight tram communication setting, eight activation line settings, the eight location setting. That's 24,008 lines of calculations directions at eight infinity cycles and set locations. That's my equation. All right, so you've seen what you need to see because it's already been said. Okay, so really understand how to use the mind frame line positions. Okay, so we got the track lines of the mind. We got the equal lines of navigation, right? This gets all of us on Mother Earth remembering why she's in set locations of direct location system. So she's trying to get balance with set lines of your spacey communications through clocking. Now this is where it comes into mind lines of clock lines of 24 signature, equal line conditions into positions, infinity 8 line centers of space, infinity 8 line centers location time setting. Okay. So we take the mind at the conception of the collaboration of communication all in setting. That's a constant calculation lines of one atom rotation surface. Now it gets complicated. Now we take the collaboration lines as zero lines. We set the communication to ground lines. Ground levels of levels line interference, line condition is ozone line interference. Platitude line interference is ozone line condition high system. Now that's a heat signature pattern line calculation setting. Percentage over pi, calculation line interference of travel communications. Directing sig line interference, 98% lines and calculation line positions to over track. That's 100% line condition of the avatar line stream. Center position location of 6, position location of all levels. Center calculation lines of sun line rotation surface and set locations, and the moon operation line connections, and direct signals is location setting and direct signal. That's my equation. All right. Going to the operation surface is understanding modems of triangulation line and positions. This is where it comes into the modem. Wi-Fi calculation of moon lines, new emotional track lines, center calculation streamlines and set location setting, direct signals into alpha line rotation and voice grid line, box line, and track communication of zero line gravity, center calculation line positions, open travel calculation lines and set locations. Now, directing line setting is set position of center line and calculation sets equal line up and equal line down, equal line across and set location setting into stargates and set line calculation setting and travel communication and direct signals and set locations. That's my equation. All right, here's center line communications now set up. Now we set up the receptors. Now receptor line sets visual locations. That's where it comes into all calculation position of track lines, right? When you come into your connections to its interference. Now this interference line condition setting sets an area receptor location of track line. It opens all calculations of a tree formation life, line direct line signals location system. Directing signals, high line of rotation, position of track line. Calculation line interference, branches, communication line stream and set locations all levels. We got 2 panels on left and 2 panels on right in calculation streamlines and all position the bandwidth. Correlation lines of latitude and set location in its direction signals and set locations. Coordinates on channels, that's 12-line signature line position of patterns, line interference of 12-line communications, and a 36 position of operation to its surface. Calculation line stream. Now, in direct line center line interference, opens all signals in the center line communication setting in direct signal and set location system, and a new operation line direction locations of 8 positions and 8 position line condition of space and time and track communications. Done by equation. All right. Okay, rotation surface and galaxy shift lines. Changing position of track communications to really understand how this works in all ways and forms. Now I got a rotation line, the cosmic line interference of a cluster line communication and cosmic universal line stream. Setting calculation lines and I-line receptor and set location directions. Now this directs line setting, center communication, zero line operation, and flux capacitor communication at 3 set location settings. See the flower recognition? Timeline sequence comes into the line connecting high interference to tree formation light setting. Now sets lines of communication ground lines, opens all signals and panels lines at energy field line rotation and protection. Setting calculation nurturing, security lines of position location programs. Calculation modifies security position line direct locations and allocate high interference center calculation line and position locations to its hub. Center lines its direct location system and all calculation line interference. We take the line communication data line streams, set lines and high calculation of code moving correctly code streams, setting direct signal line interference, a 2 panels operation line interference, oscillation calculation settings, and a new Merkabah set line condition directions and set location operation surface. Done by equation. So it's all about understanding how this sets lines into gravitational line. This pulls its direction of time series locations. Light force line settings of Mother Earth is now track communication infinity line settings. So now she understands the correlation settings of where you guys are supposed to be in timeline sequence, which is analysis locations. See, you understand, Mother's an adaptation already set location of eternity. Same with farther correlation of space. But the position, location, and direction is the now set locations, which brings you back in set location of the center line connections. Once you come into your memory line interference, like calculation of the positions of Mother, she's now in center communication of spacing line in the fraction communication line in directions into positive over negative, into masculine and femininity in the center operation location of projections to your sun and your moon of operation surface. The triangulation line calculation setting and position of the box line is the operational line condition of the system that's opening all track communications into your tracker settings. Operation, server location, position location, and operation. Okay? So the center line of communication opens all signals and set locations. Now that's where it comes in a high calculation method. 6 lines of 5 line setting. Okay? Directing signals. And the operation line, center line interference sets communication into spectral communications into line connecting. All right? Directing line center line interference sets position location of 6. Now line centers of 8. 6 lines of 8, center lines of 8, center lines of 8, center lines of 8, 4 line settings. Now we take the 4 lines of 8 position locations, and we take line centers. So that's 4 lines. And we take the 3 line track lines. That's 4 over 3, 3 over 4. Set calculation of 4 equal lines of 3, lines connection of 7 new bodies of water. Track communication, direct lines of center and position locations into a magnetic highway information line of a streamline and rotation center and set locations. Done by equation. All right, so she's center up and set line connections. See, the condition line interference looks like a donut. So she's got a magnetic line channel that operates the same locations to its electronic setting interference. It sets a magnetic field line into a torque field, setting line direct locations into a geometric pattern operation line conditions geometric location system. Travel lines of 3 lines of rotation surface and calculation string line to set locations. So directing signals and her tree formation line stream, calculation line interference, coming to calculation line and rotation, position of tracker line settings, center communications, wires its line setting and line and rotation setting to its flux capacitor. Directing signals. Now that's where it gets interesting. The zero line operation line calculation setting sets position location of levels to its position. All right. So she's separated, but the center communication center lines its position location into harmonization to infusion. See the infusion line setting? This rotates this line, which is a cup line rotation. The center line calculating equalizes calculations of balance its application directions. Directing line settings and signature patterns. Now that rotates the center line interference infinity cycles. Setting communication cosmic universe line settings, set at 4 galaxy shift lines of clock lines of 24, 48, 72, and 144. She's on a clock line division location at 0 to 9 to 12 line setting. That puts her position locations and set locations into 5 elements of space and time in your preservation and calculation line, and self-preservation and calculation in position line directions in its operational line conditions to its avatar location. Done by equation. All right. So, how does everybody feel now through location? Yep. Well, it's all set line conditions, how you get positions of Mother Earth, right? Wait till we get to farther space. All right. So I got to go through metric scales now. Metric scale lines and high line rotation is position locations. In other words, it goes factor lines in lines of sector into vector, and cross line string lines into vector, and position location into position of quadrants. Okay. So the quad line, setting line, and experience is track communications, right? So this infused lines of vector inline conditions. This crosses streams into flux capacitor communication in one lines, two consoles on left and two consoles on right. Masculine and femininity and line condition setting in masculine location system. Okay. So the track communication comes into one line setting, rotation of center. See that? Center position. Operations consoles, line, center line interference. Looks like a happy face. You look really close, you can see the intelligence. It's always intelligence in everything in form, location, of communications. Center line setting is opposite cycle line connection, high interference, drive communications. Center lines its direct locations and the formation location of spectrum communications. One line channel and flux capacitor lines, string lines of 6 lines of communication directions. Now, directing signal lines and operation surface, and then we set the lines of 0 equals to 9. Waiting on signal of 3. Now it's an open line window calculation of 8 lines of 48 channels, 72 tracks, and 144, and set location setting and direct signals into time frequency code locations. That's my question. All right. So she's set up through metric scales now through set locations to a lot of the light force line setting. Directing signals of life line setting. Now, lifeline is calculated and modify how we use calculation of monotone. Modifies line center interference, position location triangulation. Setting lines, line interference. She's got a line communication triangulations of beta and direction line interference. Setting calculation line, position location of theta. Setting operations omega, calculation streamline and set locations. Hold on a second. Okay, so going through the offline setting line interference of beta waves and calculation streamline is setting up tone position location of track lines. Okay, getting that line interference of zero gravity line interference, center communications directions, and magnetic highway information line channels, and set location of directions. Now, center line and line rotation, we set up the same communication in all setting. Okay, so it's a reverse line setting. So when you look at things on a table, you see it up above, but you also see it below. That's the calculations of the Merkaba up and the Merkaba down. Now, if you look at the cross line string at a table line position location, you see it through its hologram. But if you look really, really close, it's set locations in position of center calculations, right? So you see the full structure of its hologram. So I'm setting metric line string lines of holograph line interference of mirror resolution calculation string line with applications. Directing up and directing down applications. Done by equation. All right. So she set up through mirror resolution line settings. How she sees things through provision location operation through its calculation setting and directions. Okay. Hold on. So looking at the spectrum division location line signature, guys, streaming position location operation to its system. So it's really powerful once we understand what we're seeing through division, right? So when you start to see mirror resolution line settings, you see up and you see down. But what you have to see is in between of the table. So think of the table line setting as the equal. Now, if you understand space, then you understand the grounds of space of time. Space line, ground, agelics. So think of the agelics as the table. Think of space as the Merkaba up and triangulation. Circle line rotation, down cross line setting. Table in the center, okay? Mirror resolution. Reality, okay? Together. It's process of a holographic stream. This equalizes balanced communication setting in direct signal locations so Mother Earth can center line its infinity of cycles at set locations. Okay? So that's how this works. Now, through vision, you're perceiving everything now through top and bottom. The center calculation is you in provision. Right? That's how this works. So now you understand the importance when you're looking at things, you're always seeing everything through light and shadow. Multi-pass. So you're not just seeing a half structure, you're seeing a whole structure of a hologram, top to bottom. You are in the center of travel operation. Okay? So now you understand. Now you understand how to set locations too. When you see things, you're always seeing everything through light and shadow of shades. But you always see the top. It's like if you see a glass, here, you have a glass platform, but you have a table. Underneath, you see it, but you see it beneath. But it's together. There's no separation. Right? Getting in that direction, then you understand how it becomes a mirror resolution location of its hologram structure. Together location of its Merkaba, the tesseract, and the tetrahedron. Okay? That's what it is, the calculation. All right? Okay, in that line setting, you have a center line calculation. Z zero line rotation. Okay, now, hopefully you guys understand the mind conception, how it works now. We got the zero line operation center calculation of its I setting. Now, mirror resolution line interference travels calculation line position location. Now, it has to go through a streamline rotation surface and set location directions. Directing lines to set lines and high interference. So Mother Earth is traveling now at set location of travel position, the eye sectors. Travel lines at 3 lines in position of 6. Sets lines of the moon line operation surface and calculation of ground lines of center interference. 12 line signatures, 24 lines at 8 lines in configuration and set location setting and direct center and center. Line condition of sun line rotation surface in its dimensional realm and set location setting as 0 operation and calculation. All right, done by equation. So now you understand the importance and how you see things, the provision location of dimensional settings from top to bottom and center, because that's what you're working with. All right, you are no longer calculating to modify through heads and tails. You got the head, you got the body, and now you got the tail. All set location in the same timeline sequence position of patterns, all through provision, multipass. Okay. So when you see these things, the set line communication, it puts everything in straight connectionized setting. Okay, so let's start with this locations. All right, just a cup, right? Here's the table, set locations. It's on the table, right? Center calculation line and positions. This is what it is in position. Okay, this is how you see it. Right? That's how you see it, right? So in that line center line interference, it comes together in position of all traction. It's all set position. So it comes into full cycles of a calculation line position locations into a Merkaba of a tesseract locations of travel, right? That's what it is. So it comes together, okay? But there's separation here, okay? Now, in that direct signal, at set location settings, you have to understand how to use it through the connections of up and positions of down and cross lines and high calculation division. That's all it is. That's all this is. If that's the table, you're the center of travel communication. So you're traveling full calculations in position location to its line setting of its cup without separating. Multi-pass. Okay? It's very powerful when you understand settings now. Okay? You see it through a holographic line of its dimension, which is no longer separated. So in that calculation line directions, this is what it comes into, the equal line setting, a wide separated. YE equals MC square and set location in its division. Now you know. Now you know what the connection to the equal line setting is. The center calculation, Merkaba up, Merkaba down. Tables in the center. Okay? You put it together. Okay, of travel. You put it together of travel. Okay? There's no separation. The center calculation is you traveling through the position location to its object as set line conditions of up, cross line streams, and down location setting directions. Okay? So now you understand the importance of what's going on through the location system, what the equal line center is in position of traction. What's up? What's below? What's in the center? Rotation. You in calculation. It's your job to get in fusion and set line conditions to understand how to use the Merkaba of the tesseract of the tetrahedral location of GOD. Okay, it's the most powerful thing I can give you guys to set location through its directions. How to use it through provision of space and time. Okay, through pi. Okay. I'm just showing you what you guys are looking at every single time calculation setting. You have to understand the direct location, how it comes into the process of yin and yang. Okay? Setting calculation line interference of yin and yang. See how it bounces on both lines? Box line, TV reception location, ground lines, circle line communication, and travel set locations. Right? How? Because it comes into line connecting high track line settings of Infinity 8. That's all it is, which is the most powerful thing. The equal line center in here in position location is up and down in position across lines in set location setting. So you're setting up a position location to a Merkaba of travel in your tesseract of tetrahedron. Multi-pass. Okay, get into that concept and how this works. Through yin and yang, a process communication of Infinity 8. That's the only way you're going to understand anything to that set locations. Okay, that's all it is. The center operation is through travel location, your center lines and set locations. Center lines of communication, center lines of communication, center lines of communication is direct location settings. Okay, multi-pass. So what are you creating line, center line interference? And when you're looking at objects and set locations or your settings, input, output, line setting. Understand the communication of settings from up above and below. Center operation of you of travel, center calculation of portals of yin and yang, put position location. Yin and yang, masculine and feminine, yin and yang, female masculinity, and set locations, center operation line setting, Infinity 8 location settings, and both direct line settings, box location, theta line interference, theta communication setting, all direct line center interference, put the 4-line communication of its diamond core, come into the Merkaba, the tesseract, the tetrahedron locations, you're done through equation. Multi-pass. Okay? This is probably the most powerful video I can give you guys to know exactly what is going on with you through your dimensions of your reality location system. How you perceive things through provision. Okay? Now you understand the concept of what it means to equalization. From up and below. Okay? The center lines of U in calculations. You have to get out of the separation line settings. It comes together through a Merkaba. So now you understand the concept when it comes in all calculation line, position all levels, when it comes into GOD, how it sets its direct location setting in direct location to its system of travel. See? You see what it is now? Do you see what it is now? One more time. Okay? Up, down. What's in the middle? E, right? E equals mass calculation to and from longitude, latitude, square. Where does the square come from? Here, here, and here in position location. Merkaba, tesseract is the center lines of realms. The tetrahedron is the calculation of travel of communication to its set lines and high calculation streamline setting. Multipass. Okay? Now you understand what the equal-line setting is. The most important thing is to understand space of U and grounds of U and the center of U. Operation is setting line calculation setting, directing signals to operation server locations, operation to its position location attractions. So once you understand the space of up and the grounds of position, then you understand the center of U is all calculated and modify how you set up your tesseract locations to your tetrahedron of GOD as applications of navigation. Navigation. This is position of your body of consciousness you're creating, right? Traveling through timelines, all lines of your heart, and your soul is directing light through travel. So now you understand the process and how easy it is to understand position locations. Now you understand the equal line setting, what it is, E equals mc squared, mass through calculation. To and from, right? Longitude and latitude, bandwidth over pi, bandwidth all the calculations, pi direction of timelines, time sequence, time calculation. Okay? That's all it is. Understanding space and understanding below. Okay? What's above is what's below. But what's in the center? You through position of travel. Through the mind, through the heart, through the body, and through the soul. Okay? So in that set lines of communication with settings and directions, let's see here. User one line setting, high direct locations. Identify your set location, setting, direction. All set positions. Yeah. Can't have you in channel lines, okay? You got to be modified set location direction settings. Okay. So in that line rotation interference and direct location setting and all levels, open all calculations to the system. Okay. Setting communication to a setting is redirecting systems. Okay. Try to understand how to use position location or interference. This opens all track communication to your settings. Okay. Directing signals is all set location directions. All right. This gives you understanding how to use the space and time you have through the center operation of you. All right. The center of all communication is what? The table of you is the platform. You are the center communication, which is 5-line setting. The position of the table is the 5 elements. Okay. So you really have to understand how to direct yourself from space above and the grounds below. Okay. So all you're doing is you're high calculating and modifying your GODs of higher models of transportation. Okay. Through your avatar set locations. But your body is nothing but reaction location to your settings. Okay. All right. So I think that's good. Take you guys out of triangulation, spot lines, high interference, and Mother Earth position, the ground lines, operates through position location and settings.
Today, 7 here, we can make a call for just for 1 hour, 777. Today, breathing. You can say.
Yeah.
All right, there's a lot going on. When you get distracted, you always have to find a way to put yourself in set locations to its directions. Center calculation line inference. The port of communication line inference to track location is 777. That's track communication of 3 lines. The set location of the sun, position location of the moon. Now there's going to be an open operation in sequence location in a live setting. Okay, sending position to track lines. Between 2 to 3 to 4 hours line interference, either position location of 7 to 9 tonight, and set locations being on live, and position location of free reading, calculation to its setting directions. Okay, so it's going to be open portal. I'm going to set line communication of 7s and 3 line settings and directions. Okay, so calculation line and position location of free activation. Okay, given to line interference that people have not been in position locations in activation stream. All right. Calculate and modify and set location setting tonight in set locations. All right, 7 p.m. See you there. Adios.